As we've said on a number of occasions over the past few years, we live in a very polarized society today. Obviously, one of the things driving that is social media. We all tend to gravitate towards the news channels or social media sources that we particularly like, that sort of echo back the beliefs that we already have. We tend not to really listen too much to people who have other views, at least not in our social media or news sources. And so we tend to reinforce the beliefs we already have, which are increasingly very, very different from those who are listening to other sources of information. But I think another thing that's kind of driving, underlying this dichotomy, this divisiveness that exists in our society, is the idea that the social media and news sources are now very much motivated by sponsorships. Money makes the media. The news broadcasts now have to earn money and sell commercials, and commercials only will pay money for advertisement if there's a lot of eyeballs watching the news. And the same with social media. They monetize the social media sources. So the more eyeballs, the more time you spend watching something, the more money they can make selling their commercials. And what attracts eyeballs? Well, what attracts our attention is getting us agitated, getting us worked up. So rather than just telling the news sort of, quote, the way it is, if we can characterize it in dramatic ways, in aggravating ways, we can get more people attracted and passing it on to their friends. Look at how terrible the world is, and sort of over dramatizes the differences that we have between each other. We also tend to reduce the news to sound bites and epithets, short little catchy words that trigger people, that get people all worked up and agitated. Listen to this item here or this item there because of something that really will get your attention with a word or two. And it occurs to me that in our Torah portion, we have an admonition against doing any of that. It's a verse that seems fairly innocuous. It seems to be addressed to judges. It says, Lo tisa shema shav, which means it's translated in the Torah, in our translation, as do not carry false rumors. But another way to interpret it is do not promote false narratives. False narratives don't have to be completely untrue. They could be narratives that are intentionally hyperbolized to attract people's attentions, intentionally aggravating to get your attention so that you'll hear it, pass it on, get worked up, and want to come back for more. So narratives can have a kernel of truth, but be so transformed into something that's different because they want you to get exercised and worked up. And unfortunately, that's creating this polarized society that we live in. And if we could ratchet down the discourse, the words, the terms that we use to just express what we think is actually going on, we might be able to have a conversation and have even an argument or a discussion about what the meaning of the events are. And we might be able to come to some mutual understandings that would help us to move forward as a society together as a whole. I'm going to be talking about that, particularly in the context of one statement that recently came out of the Presbyterian Church, again, from the stated clerk. But we'll be talking about how language is used to aggravate people, to agitate people for particular ends, and how we should try and ratchet down the level of that language so that we can learn to talk to each other, listen to each other, and promote a better world for all of us. So please join us this Shabbat, 6 o'clock Friday night, tonight, and 9:30 tomorrow morning. We're going to be celebrating with the Robinson family, Abby Robinson's bat mitzvah. Join us for services at Beth Yeshurun, 6 o'clock tonight, 9:30 tomorrow morning. I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. Take care.